Hello, everyone. A very warm welcome to another exciting episode of Psychology Talks. And I'm your host, Amreen Nadeem. And today we're going to discuss a very intriguing, very fascinating topic that the dimensions, the higher dimensions beyond space and time. For centuries, philosophers, scientists, spiritual teachers, they have been looking for this answer that, is this world we see really exist or is it just in our head? And a lot of people, a lot of philosophers gave answers. They've tried to come up with some theories, some ideas that how we perceive the reality. Is it real or is it just in our head? But this conversation is going on and on and on. But now we've seen these kind of conversations happening more because like dimensions maybe have opened up more and people are getting more conscious about it, people are talking more about it, and a lot of people are saying that earth is in the stage where it's transitioning from one stage to the higher stage, and those who will know this, that what's happening around them, they will be able to adapt this change very quickly. And that's why it's very important to have these conversations. And in today's episode, I'm so honored to be joined by Dr. Deborah Forrest. And this is for the second time. I had the podcast with her a month or so ago, and it was such a fascinating discussion that we thought that it should be continued. So it is the second time that she will be appearing. She will be featured as a guest speaker on Psychologist Talks. She is a respected voice in spirituality and consciousness who will help us unpack the mysteries of these higher dimensions today. And together we will explore what different dimensions are there and how they can shape our experience and reality. So let's welcome Dr. Deborah. Thank you so much for joining us. It's really an honor to have you second time.
Thank you, Ambreen. I'm thrilled to be here. And this topic
Yeah,
is going to be quite interesting, I hope. So
yeah,
let's get started.
absolutely. Yes, absolutely. This is such a fascinating topic because it actually makes you think, or it makes us think that what is happening around us, right? Is whatever is happening is really happening or is it just in our head? So, anyways, I know we can just ask lots of questions about it, but I just gave a very brief introduction, a little bit of. So, just tell us a bit more about yourself to our audience, and then we can start our discussion.
Thank you. Um, my background is started out in nursing, and from there I did biomedical research uh, in the United States with a group of physicians doing laser research and excuse me. That led me into the whole aspect of dimensions. In the midst of all of that, I had a near death experience, which
Mhm.
introduced me to the angelic realm, which was my experience. And I, because I was involved in biomedical laser research and training, I trained physicians. And I'm going to use some of that material to try to explain or give your audience a concept of what a dimension is or an understanding of it so that they can take it and use it. And first and foremost, what's happening is not a figment of our imaginations. It is real. It is, there are scientific research projects going on that support this. Um, it's going to get more and more intense in the next, pretty much the next 5 to 10 years. Um, I will inject here, I was going to put it at the end, but I think it's important to know that the medical community in this country, as well as other countries, are telling us that in the future we are going to be treated for medical diseases and disorders using frequencies and sound waves. And
Wow.
I'm still looking into that. I'm studying that as well. People are asking me to write a book. I'm not there yet, but it's coming, whether we like it or not. And the more you understand it, the easier it will be for you to work with the energy. Because bottom line, we are talking about energy. As
Yeah.
many people will say, We are spiritual beings in human bodies. We are energy. We are connected to our environment with energy. Um,
Yeah, that's fascinating, isn't it? That how frequencies and sounds can really impact our health. But before
yes.
we go into this, like frequencies and things, let's define that what are these dimensions and what is this reality? What dimensions creates our reality? I would say.
Okay. This is language that's fairly straightforward. Uh, a di- Science has a description or definition of dimension, which is involved in it involves the use of mathematical concepts and equations and light and so forth. I don't want to get into that because it gets too confusing. What I want
Mhm.
people to understand is right now, basically, everybody's familiar with four dimensions. There's three that we can see, and one that's involves time.
Yeah.
Uh, that's Earth.
Yes.
Our world, theoretical physics says there's 11 dimensions. I will
Mhm.
tell you, recently, within this calendar year, some quantum physicists have indicated that they believe there's 17 dimensions. And
Oh.
the best way that I can convey the idea of what a dimension looks like is I always go back to the rainbow.
Mhm.
Everybody has experienced the image of a rainbow, and they know the colors differently move up the rainbow. Sometimes you're fortunate enough to have two rainbows. So you can see at least those four dimensions. And that's where I get into my laser light work because when I started when I started teaching lasers and laser physics to physicians, I used something like a little crystal that I got at the store, and I hung it in a window. And when the sun came in, the the prism in the quartz crystal refracted the wavelength so that you could see the different colors. And
Yeah.
a wavelength, just by definition, is a horizontal distance between two peaks of a light wave.
Yeah.
The light is measured by its wavelength in nanometers. That's tiny measures. And it usually is characterized by a Greek symbol. The visible light that we see is defined as having wavelengths in the range of 400 to 700 nanometers.
Okay.
What does that mean?
Mhm.
I'll explain. Because we are also part of this light energy concept
Mhm.
as well.
Okay.
The different colors that we're familiar with include, I want to get the particular colors.
Sure. Sure.
There's 7 wavelengths that we can see in the visible spectrum, and
Mhm.
they coordinate with the different colors. Each visible color has a wavelength. Each
Okay.
wavelength you can think of as a dimension. Okay,
Mhm. Okay.
um, there's like the 7 dimensions are. This becomes important when you start talking about frequencies and energies coming into this earth and how we feel them and adapt to them or we don't. Um,
Mhm.
Violet, which is the very top of the spectrum, has the shortest wavelength. It's 400 to 420 nanometers, and
Mhm.
it has the highest frequency and carries the most energy. And you go down to indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, in that range. The lowest range is red, which is the longest wavelength, which is around 620 to 700 nanometers, and it has the lowest frequency.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you think of a rainbow and you think of these different colors that appear in a rainbow, you are witnessing dimensions of the universe that you can see. Now, when we get above violet, we get into what is called the unseen wavelengths and unseen energies. And that's where my book, Cosmic River, came into being, because I talk about gathering and connecting with the energy that's in that unseen stream of energy that comes into our earth.
Yeah.
There's some people that want to know, well, what are you talking about? Unseen.
Yeah.
If you go above the violet and the frequency of the violet, you get into the unseen. The highest frequency that scientists will talk about are gamma rays.
Yeah.
And they're pure energy that are the most damaging to the human body. You have X-rays, and then you have ultraviolet light when you lay on the beach and you get the sun. Those are those are frequencies. Those are light frequencies. They're energy as well.
Yeah.
We go on beyond that. We have other waves of energy that you might be familiar with are radio waves, microwaves.
Mm-hmm.
The internet is an energy. I just read this morning that Verizon, which is a telephone company here in this country, has learned how to transmit the quantum energy of entangled bodies, particles, across across an internet line, uninterrupted, which is just a tad window into what's going on with quantum physics and quantum energy. Now, I fully expect people want to know what's beyond the unseen, what's beyond the invisible.
Yeah.
Several of your audience in the last 24 to 48 hours has made reference to Dolores Cannon's work on unseen energy and where the different entities rely or where they're found on on that spectrum. I'm not going to try to reinvent that. I'm not going to try to carry on what she's talking about. What I do want you to know, which is more from a scientific perspective, that bleeds into some of the spiritual pieces that I'm familiar with, include, as I told you, when I had a near-death experience, I left my body. I was out of my body for close to 10 minutes. I was catapulted into the dimension where angels reside. And it took me 20 years to understand what those white flowing figures were that came rushing into me and surrounded me and spoke to me. And some of that I still haven't translated yet. Beyond that, there are dimensions, frequencies, wavelengths. Think in terms of frequencies and wavelengths.
Yeah.
And it'll help you to understand dimensions, because we have dimensions that go, oh my goodness. Some people will say 124 dimensions and beyond. And within each of those dimensions are energy entities. I do. I'm going to say this publicly.
Yeah.
I do believe in ETs. I have just spent a week in Sedona, Arizona, which is a big energy vortex.
Yeah.
And they're strong believers there.
Mm-hmm.
There are wavelengths or dimensions that hold what we refer to as ETs.
Yeah.
And it is my understanding that different types of ETs reside in different dimensions.
Yeah.
Again, most of them are unseen.
Mm-hmm.
One of the questions you posed to me was, can we see them?
Yeah.
Some people can. I,
Mm-hmm.
I, I can tell you, I have seen angels. I have
Mm-hmm.
seen some ETs, three three different types of ETs, and
Mm-hmm.
the ones beyond those I have been told about. Um,
Okay. Yeah, that's fascinating. I was just thinking that, like if these dimensions are here on this earth, or is it like how we can just say that is somewhere in the space, how we can access those dimensions?
you can access them by through meditation, but the biggest piece to this process is your perception of
Mhm.
your reality, your belief systems, your past experiences, your experiences now.
Yeah.
The energies are coming in. There are a number of sources that are scientific sources that are making us aware of the solar flares, the different types of energies that are bombarding Earth.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
also are beginning to understand that, for example, trees have
Yeah.
a whole network of root systems that allow them energetically to communicate with each other.
Mhm.
Um, and it's the same thing with the energies that are coming in.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. So, like you're saying that all these are the energies here, and then it's just a matter of frequencies, and it exists around us,
Right,
just like the radio waves we can't see, the X-rays we can't see,
right.
but it's just one there. And the higher frequency our brain actually resonate, or the higher frequency we achieve, we are
Yes.
able to uh, uh, to access those. So one of the things that is very intriguing to me, and actually I didn't write it in the questions that I gave you, but I just got this idea that uh, our consciousness is basically when we are in the waking life, it's a bit different, and there's also the when we're in sleep. Our consciousness is at level when we actually are able to access those higher dimensions. So, what are your point of view on that?
Um,
Especially like dreams, when we say that sleep, during sleep everybody dreams, and do you think it is a gateway to different dimensions, or is it just uh, like
the answer is yes. The answer is yes. I'm
okay.
not I'm not one that remembers a lot of my dreams, but that's just me. That's
Hmm.
because of events in my life that have interfered with that process. But the consciousness, more and more researchers are talking about consciousness being everywhere. It is a connective piece to our universe and the galaxies outside of our universe.
Hmm.
In the book that I wrote, Cosmic River, I talk
Yeah.
about a plasma, which is a fourth element or fourth type of energy that's just beginning to be understood. Dr.
Hmm.
Robert Temple over in London, in England, has written extensively about that for anyone who's interested in the plasma universe, because it's also beginning to appear in regular nomenclature about this very topic.
Yeah.
He came out with a new book 2 years ago called The New Science of Heaven, and
Hmm.
it's quite a complex book, but it's quite informative. He did a composite of all the research studies that were done by the quantum physicists around the world, so it's a
Wow.
comprehensive look at this.
So
Uh,
what's the name of the person and the book?
the the gentleman's name is Robert Temple,
Okay. Okay.
Temple,
Okay. Yeah, I
and
just written down. Yeah.
the book
Okay.
title is A New Science of Heaven, and he talks
Okay.
about plasma.
Wow. So how so there's one like question, like just basically she's saying that you speak of benevolent energy. How do you access it, or does it access you?
the answer is yes, you can. And the simplest way that I can convey that information is through meditation, through prayer,
Yeah.
through getting out in nature and shutting down the internal noise.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
the benevolent energy is there. One's thought processes and thinking positively and being open to positive information coming in will help bring that kind of energy and information to one.
Yeah.
Because a lady in Ireland that I attended a conference a few years back, who is a true expert on angels, and
Wow.
she talks about we have a lot of out of work angels who don't have anything to do, and
Wow.
they're ready and willing to help,
Hmm.
but you have to ask. And that would be a source for acquiring benevolent energy, is to ask the angels to come and
Wow.
help with
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Now
So that's amazing.
that may sound far fetched, but it I have to also say this: angels are a reality to me because of my experiences.
Hmm.
There may be another form of benevolent energy depending upon your frame of reference and your background, your culture, your religion, or not, and it's how you organize it. But
Hmm.
that positive energy is there, the benevolent energy is there, and the
Hmm.
benevolent entities are there, in my belief and my experiences,
Yeah.
are there to help.
Yes. So you mentioned that you had the experience of, ET, and you just met like angels. I want to know about it. That what kind of ETs you met and
Okay.
how did you met? So it would be great because the reason why I'm interested because I used to live in haunted house and I had this experiences too. And like I would just say that I could feel the presence of the people, not the people, like those maybe entities around me. I could see it, but not through this eye, but of course through the other. So I could see it to the extent that I could define their like complete. But of course, they are not there. It was not the illusion. It was not the hallucination. So, anyways, I just want to know your experience.
I have multiple experiences. Um,
Okay, so tell us a bit, which is the most interesting
okay.
one.
My first experience was in 1956, and I lived in a haunted house in the
Oh wow.
country. And
Hmm.
I heard a voice that I couldn't see. There was no one in the house. And I just kind of wrote it off as, oh, it's my imagination.
Hmm.
Um, the next time that I had an encounter with an apparition was my father died. And 2 weeks after he died, he he had been living with me, and I sent him back to another facility, and he was supposed to come back to Atlanta where I lived for a doctor's appointment. And 2 weeks to the day after he died, he showed up in my bedroom for that appointment,
Wow.
and it scared the life out of me. And that's
Of course.
one of the sources of instigators for me getting into understanding this, because it was so frightening.
Of
Um,
course.
when I did my research with Dr. Kubler Ross's death and dying groups, I learned that there is a long history of well over 400, 500 years of people seeing apparitions after a loved one passes on. They are real, they are in another dimension. If you want to go back
Yeah.
to dimensions, when we die, I, people can, your audience can take this as they feel it works for them or not. There is a belief system that when we die, the essence or the energy that is us, that is a soul, leaves the human body and moves into another dimension
Yeah.
in the universe. That
Yeah.
may be heaven, it may be somewhere else, but it is another dimension. Now,
Hmm.
you want ETs.
Yes.
Don't normally talk about this. They are real. And
Yeah.
the I've had two encounters with what they call the mantis people that
Hmm.
appeared to me in that twilight state. The first time
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a bad dream, and I just said, go away, leave me alone. The second
Mm-hmm.
time they showed up, there was no denying that they were there. Again, I said, I do not want to participate in whatever you're going to do. Leave
Yeah.
me alone. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
the other entity that I encountered, I encountered a reptilian, and
Oh, okay.
that was a shape shifting person that I had known for 20 plus years, and
Wow.
it just happened to be that my brain was receptive to moving into another dimension to where I could see this person's face, and there was no mistaking it because I had just purchased a book by
Mm-hmm.
a British author who had pictures of different alien groups, and I was able to go to that book, pick out a picture of what this entity looked like, and
Oh, so that's interesting. Like you're saying that it was a human, but then
he shapeshifted.
it was shapeshifter. Okay, that's pretty interesting. I haven't encountered that entity yet,
Good.
and it's okay. It's and I'm happy that I did not.
Well, I'm even willing to talk about this because, again, there are people who will tell you that as we get more and more move, catapulted into higher frequencies, and that sort of separates the people who are comfortable living in a third dimension reality and a day to day, and they'll be happy right where they are. And even Dolores Cannon talked about the new earth, and she
Yeah.
talked about moving into higher and higher frequencies. And
Yeah.
when we get into those higher frequencies, the veil that separates us from those entities and those dimensions will get thinner and thinner, and we will eventually see them. We will,
Mhm.
I believe, we will interact with some of them we're already interacting with, but we don't know that they're
Yeah.
cloaked, so to speak. So that is coming.
Yeah.
Um,
So I just want to ask that, like in the introduction also, I said that, a lot of people are talking about it, that this change is coming. The change is very like rapid, and it is like, it's going to be a very big change, right? It's not like something, it's gonna change everything. So first of all, my question is that why now? What's happening now that, that triggered that change, and what to expect in that change?
I draw from the teachings of the Native Americans here in this country who talk about how it's from the ancestors of generations back, and it's an evolutionary process, and we have reached that point in evolution to where the energies are changing. The There is sort of a divide coming. Either people connect with the energies and connect with the people around them and the environment, the earth, the animals, and we understand that we're all connected,
Yeah.
and it will move into a much more positive mindset, positive experience. There's supposed reportedly going to be lots of bumps in the road before we get there, but we're getting there. And those who choose not to believe, or they just will say people like me are crazy, which is okay. I've been told that before. They will be very comfortable where they are, and they will go through their life. They will die, and then they will move on to what happens after they die, and that's will be defined by their belief systems and their experiences. Um, different pe- different people use different language. Some people will talk about the ascension process, and that's the one that's most commonly used here in this country, which it really speaks to a process that we're going through where we begin to become aware that the energy around us has changed. Time has changed. It's moving much faster. It takes us shorter amounts of time to get things done, unless you're my age, and it takes a little bit longer, but it is what it is. Um, the thing that I usually like to go back to or go to because people can begin to relate to it They want to know, how do I recognize that I'm going through this?
Yes, that's a big question. I think everyone has this question. That how,
Everybody.
yeah.
I even have a couple of friends in different parts of this country that I will contact if I'm getting bombarded by energy, because I don't
Hmm.
keep up with some of that because I just have other things I'm doing.
Yeah,
I'll call and say, what's the energy like? Have we
yeah,
had a big solar flare? Uh,
yeah.
and they'll generally confirm it. I've got a list of 14 signs if you're experiencing some kind of spiritual
Okay.
process or ascension or
Hmm.
awakening.
Hmm.
You're feeling a strong need for change, and you
Hmm.
may not understand it, but
Yeah,
you recognize that it's happening
yeah.
there. You begin to question your old beliefs and value systems. Uh,
Hmm.
some of them work, some of them may not work anymore. You're
Yeah.
feeling a need to connect with your true purpose, whatever that is. And many people are saying, why am I here? Why am I here? And they will eventually work that out. Um,
Hmm.
I'm getting ready in the spring to start offering some workshops to work
Wow.
with people who and help them understand how they can access this unseen energy in the cosmic river. They can get rid of their or let go of their traumas that impact the tissues in their body and holds them in a place, and frees up a lot of energy for them to work toward doing the things that make them happy.
Yeah.
Um, Many people will experience a lot of upheaval and turmoil in their life, more so than normal. Uh,
Hmm.
they begin to see the light different. They begin to see the world in a different light. Um, some people you feel more connected to, people people who are not on. I can use this word. People who are not on the same wavelength that you are, who don't seem to see the world the same way you do, will simply begin to move away from you, and you will be encountering new people who think more like you do. And I don't put any parameters on that, but it's
Yeah.
how you see the world. Um, you One of the things that's becoming very clear to me is feeling more compassionate toward others.
Hmm.
Some For some people that's a whole new experience,
Yeah.
and you will begin to feel energy
Yeah.
because suddenly you can't breathe. You're just tired. You're swamped, and you don't know why. You want to sleep. You want to take naps in the middle of the day or the middle of the afternoon. That's a part of this energy process that's going on. And you'll also start noticing synchronicities.
Hmm.
Or as I
Yeah.
like to say, you begin to get into a flow with the universe and things begin to unfold and happen.
Yeah.
You'll think about it, you'll talk about it, and suddenly some piece of that will appear in front of you. It will manifest, if you want to use that word.
Yeah.
And those are some of the things that people can begin to pay attention to, um, and begin to understand that they are in this process.
Yeah. Yeah.
You may
And
have you may have more visions and dreams than usual, and they may become much more clear, crystal clear. Um,
yeah.
some dreams have to do with past lives. Some dreams have to do with the current life that you're
Hmm.
living, and some are very prophetic dreams that foretell what's coming for that person. I've had several past life dreams, which I do remember because they're profoundly stuck
Hmm.
in my memory, and that's a part of what we're talking about as well.
Yeah. So past life, you mean not this life, right? Not the past traumas. It's the other lives, maybe
It's
in
the other
another
lives,
dimension or something.
right?
Yeah.
And that goes back to some of what Dolores Cannon was talking about.
Yeah. But how do you recognize that this is not the dream that you had is about this life or the past life? Like, how do you recognize the difference between the dreams about this life and the past life?
Somebody had to teach me. I'll be honest. Uh,
Okay. Yeah.
there was one that I had that was very profound. it was kind of like, I don't know if you ever saw the movie Thelma and Louise, where the two women are riding in a car across the country, and the last scenes they decide to go out together, and they gun it, and they go off this cliff and down. And I had a dream like that, but that was, and I remember hitting the bottom of the ground, and it was a death scene in a past life, but I had to have somebody interpret that for me. It was
Okay.
not something that, it was like, it was a frightening dream, but it later was explained to me that that was a past life. So,
All right. Yeah, that's very fascinating. Like, all of this you're saying, it's a lot of people I know that experiencing this, and like I have experienced a lot actually, as you said. And it always intrigues me that why it's happening to me, and all of this, I would just say that it's led me to what I'm doing here right now. It's part of a research, it's part of like, what's doing that, why it's happening to me, what's happening to me, why. And I know that, when things happen, like when you say that maybe the visions, or the feelings about this, the ETs or something, like I've been like experiencing this like since like childhood, but of course at that point in time, nobody actually understood what is this, and I never used to talk about it. It's only
right.
just now that I said like, oh, I think people understand what I'm saying. So only just now that I speak about it. But as you said that when you start speaking about it, you find people around you that who understands your language, and that is how you create your community. So I think that's been happening with a lot of people who
Yes,
come to me and say that that's happening. So I
yes,
think that is the part of the change that I think we are all witnessing at this moment, and it's
absolutely.
going to happen. But there's one more thing. I know that we are like off the time, but it's still like I want to understand that a lot of people actually, the concept of the new earth is, the change is coming. Some people see it very positively that it's going to be a better kind of a new earth or some, and some people link it to the like the doomsday, or the thing that the world will, it will be the end of the time that we are reaching. So what are your thoughts in this, because these are like two extreme, like one says that one point of view is that we are going to a better place, a new earth, but there is also an opinion that it could be like we are going towards a doomsday, which is like the world will end. And so, yeah, what are your thoughts on this?
Dolores Cannon wrote in one of her books, The Three Waves of Volunteers and the New Earth, which was published in
Yeah,
2011. And I agree with what she says. She says experiencing or moving into the new earth is really just a matter of consciousness and perception. And those people who are in the same positive thinking and accessing the consciousness around them in a positive way, and they perceive that the environment is new and different and refreshed, and they have more energy, versus the folks who don't have that perception. We are not, how do I put this? The We are not going to change. I mean, yes, there are also earth changes going on. There are earthquakes and tsunamis and famine and all of these things, but they are part of the normal essence of living on earth. And it is our consciousness and how we understand it, how we perceive it, and how we work with it, and the communities that we come together to join, that will create the new earth, or the new experience of earth, life on earth, versus those who see um, fire and brimstone,
yeah,
the apocalypse, and those kinds of things. They will have a harder time in a community that where they come from or where they go to. Many of them will die. Many of them will not be able to tolerate the changes, the energetic changes, and they will leave. They will die. They will commit suicide. Something will happen, and they will depart. Um,
yeah.
I don't know if that answers your question or not.
No, I think it's I understand. And basically, I have a very positive like view, so I can understand.
Yes, you do.
But
Yes, you
yes,
do.
but then it's of course it's a matter of like tuning yourself
Right,
towards what you want to achieve. If you
right,
want to go to the positive side, you need to attune your mind to be there to witness the positivity. But
right.
if your brain is like tuned into the negativity, and if you think that it's going to be the doomsday or something, so the thing is the truth is that you will go to the doomsday
Right.
instead of going to the positivity. So it's all, at the end of the day, it's all in our head, to be honest. But
Well, and it's
we
our
will actually witness, yeah, we will witness what is in our head.
right. We're in the midst of great chaos around the world, not
Yeah,
just in one country or another. This is a global set of chaos, and how we adapt to it, how we understand it, how we work with it will help guide us and get us through to the other side of all this chaos. And
yeah,
that's the view that I hold. I plan to
yeah.
live to be at least 102 to 105. So I've got a lot of work to do, and I'm going to enjoy it the best I can.
Yes, or you can say that, since you have chosen this role, so the universe has chosen you to do that. So that's
Right.
that's my view on that. I know that we are like we can go on and on, but the time is limited.
Yes.
So before I actually close the show, what one piece of advice would you give to someone who feels curious about this higher dimension and who wants to access the higher dimensions? What should they do to access it?
Try to shut out as much noise in their day-to-day life so that they can begin to see what's around them, feel what's around them, and experience the elements of the unseen energies and the unseen dimensions that they will eventually access. You can
Yeah,
say prayer, you can say meditation, but it shut down the noise so that you can hear your heart, because the heart is the great communicator with what's coming in all the dimensions.
yes, absolutely. I love that. And what is the best way if somebody wants to reach out to you? What is the best way to reach out to you?
Uh, I have the website, which is the information is streaming below. There is
Yeah,
a you can access, you can send me email through that website, and I
yeah.
do
And
check that daily, so I will get back with you.
okay. And you have also a LinkedIn. You maybe they can
I'm on
post it.
LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram,
Okay.
and thanks to you, I'm
And
going to get more.
yeah, and Dr. Deborah's like latest book, The Cosmic River, is there. So if anybody wants to find out more about all these dimensions and these frequencies and energies, please grab a copy of this book. You will get some like answers and intriguing knowledge. So anyway, so thank you so much, Dr. Deborah, for sharing such wonderful insights and knowledge. I am really fascinated by all those things that surrounds us, right? And sometimes we need to like tune ourselves to access those things. And I think the more we get awareness about this, the better prepared we are to access all this. So I think that's why these conversations are very important, to understand what's happening to us, what is happening in our lives, and how we can like stay in control and go in the right direction. So anyway, thank you so much. It was a wonderful discussion.
Thank you so much, Mus. I appreciate it. Have a
Thank
good
you.
day.
You too.
Bye bye.